So in the video I posted last week, I shared some ChatGPT image hacks to help you build your brand faster. And the response was incredible. The comments were just insane. And this was like pretty revolutionary. A lot of breakthroughs that I shared in that video. If you haven't seen it yet, go watch it because I showed you how to do some really cool stuff with ChatGPT image generation to build your brand. I'm going to do a quick recap today, but also give you some updates because I've done so much more experimenting this week and I've had some insane breakthroughs that I want to share with you. So the problem that most people have with image generation with AI is that it gives you inconsistent results. It's not quite perfect. Even if you try to put text and all the graphics on it, your logo gets messed up, your images are messed up, and it becomes more time consuming than useful. So the solution that I came up with is instead of trying to do what most people are doing, which is prompt it better to create the perfect graphic in one go, what you actually want to do is think about a layered approach. And in my last video, I talk about how to instruct the AI to kind of create these layers, and that will allow you to pull those out and now actually use those to create beautiful branded graphics in other design tools. Because as of right now, you can't really just mesh it all together perfectly in AI. I would still recommend using AI as a creative assistant to come up with ideas and then create the layers that you need to build your brand. And so with that in mind, I went ahead and started researching to see what I could do with Sora and ChatGPT. Sora is just another version of ChatGPT that's more for visual generation. And I did a lot of testing and experimenting, teaching it, what kind of brands look good, having it analyze the best personal brands and different types of brands on the web and see if it could create these mood boards that look really nice. So I've got that pretty dialed in. It's not that hard to come up with a visual mood board like this. I am working on some prompts and resources to help you create these types of mood boards. If you want to get on the waiting list, you can just go to brandwithai.com. And so I first tested with a bunch of generic ideas, but then I went into my Facebook group, which is an awesome group. If you're not a part of it, be sure to check out the Design Hacker Facebook group. And I asked people to just share a link to their website. And then I had AI just pull out the text from their website and come up with mood board ideas for different brands. And it did a really cool job of coming up with different ideas to help you visualize what your brand identity could look like. So if you're thinking about starting a new brand or rebranding or improving your brand or just seeing what kind of other paths you could go with a visual design, this is already a really useful tool because it basically does the research for you and gives you a bunch of ideas of what it could look like and how you could present your ideas. So that was super cool. The feedback was amazing. And we actually worked with like real people, real brands to start to visualize and see what their brand could look like. Now, the photos are not the actual people, obviously. It's more just conceptual direction. But the challenge then becomes, what do you actually do with this? So what I teach is you can actually use ChatGPT to extract the elements that you need out of a starting point like this. So once you get a mood board that you like, you can actually have ChatGPT analyze it and then pull out elements from that mood board. And that is where I started to really become amazed by what AI can do. So I started to have it actually analyze that initial mood board and then extract out the elements and show me what this brand could actually look like, all the pieces that I would need to build out the brand, and basically build out $10,000 branding packages in about 10 minutes. That's what we're doing here. This is the kind of stuff I've been paid a lot of money in my career to build out for people. Now, sure, these are just conceptual mock-ups, but that's really, really valuable as a starting point. And when you can whip up a mood board, a few different variations of an idea, now you can think about, okay, which path do I want to go down? And now can we see what that would look like more built out? Well, now we can do that in a few minutes with AI. So let me go ahead and pull this up and show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so let's take a look here at this mockup that was created. The next step would be to extract the fonts and colors. So I created a prompt that will actually do that and create an image like this. It like scans and analyzes the mockup and then pulls out the fonts and colors. The next step is the background images. So again, it can identify just by looking at this initial mockup here, it can scan it and realize what the background images would look like. So now I have the background images, and what you can do is basically just take a screenshot of those and then tell the AI to make that as a high-res image. So I can say that background looks really good. Let me go ahead and make that. Okay, so here in ChatGPT, I just uploaded that screenshot and then I said, generate this as a high resolution 16:9 image. You can see here, now we have that as an image for your brand, unique to your brand and your colors, style, and everything. You can also tell it to do it in a 9:16 vertical image. So now I have two sizes of that. Sure, you could just rotate it, but if you want to create a new original image in a vertical size, there you go. So that's the benefit here of getting these images extracted, and the AI can analyze that mood board and then pull this out. So a few ways right there to use ChatGPT, the new image generation features, to improve your branding. First, start with the mood board, then go ahead and extract the fonts and colors so you can see those more clearly. One key point on the fonts is it doesn't really know how to identify what font that is. So you could analyze that. And by analyze that, I mean upload a screenshot into ChatGPT and tell it to analyze this and tell me what the fonts are. I like to use Google Fonts because it makes your life easier. So I said closest Google font to match, and it can analyze that pretty well and tell you what the fonts might be. And then to figure out what the colors are, there's free tools like coolors.co, coolors.co. You can drop in a screenshot to have it analyzed, and you can kind of just pick the colors and then go ahead and open it in the generator. And now you have the hex codes for your colors. All right, so the last step of extracting out the exact fonts and colors still is a little bit manual. Along with the background images, it can show you what they are, but to actually get those as standalone images, you'll need to go in and you can just use ChatGPT to create and basically generate new high resolution images of each of these backgrounds. Now, the next layer you need to figure out are the images. So with ChatGPT, you can have it come up with ideas of what those stock images could look like. And when you have those stock photo ideas conceptualized, you can run that through ChatGPT and tell it to analyze this and give me 10 more like vibe style stock photos we can create for this brand. It will analyze those, give you some more ideas, and then you can go ahead and just have it create some of these. So I told it here, I just grabbed the first one that it gave me. I said, generate this image as a vertical stock photo. All right, so that turned out pretty cool. So now you have basically unlimited stock photos that you can use for this brand, and it will generate that same style as long as you upload the examples. And as you upload some of these visuals of your mood board and everything, it has a better idea of what direction to go in. So it can stay on brand really well, as I showed you. All right, so at this point, we've got the mood board, we got the fonts and colors, we got the background images, we've got stock photos. Now, the next thing here is the accent elements, and this is pretty cool. These are like symbols and icons you can use for your brand that just look cool. Right now, I'd say this is the least impressive thing that I'm getting from ChatGPT, but the concept here is the same. What you can do is take a screenshot of any of these and then just go back into ChatGPT, take that screenshot, drop it in there and say, generate this symbol exactly the same, but as a high-res transparent background image. And sometimes it gets lazy and it does this weird thing where it just gives you the image again. So I have to tell it, no, generate a new image of it with a transparent background. I'll have to figure out how to word this better so it knows to actually create a new image. And there we go. We have that accent element as a standalone graphic. You can download that and you can see it's got a transparent background. Super cool. All right, so now just by mixing those elements together and pulling them out using AI, now we have layers and a whole design system that will make building anything else much easier. So that is the power of what you can do with ChatGPT to go from idea to getting these elements pulled out, start to get the layers that you need and a library of content and a whole system in place to build out your brand. And when you start to do that, now we can actually even use AI to kind of conceptualize what that would look like. So what I did is I started to take that and then build out these mock-ups to help me see what the brand would look like. So before you go in and start tinkering around and messing with it, you can actually ask AI to come up with visual ideas to show you what would look good and like how to weave those elements together. Now, could you use these actual graphics and make stuff like that? You could try. At this stage, I wouldn't, it's hit or miss with AI. It can create stuff like this and it may be decent, but what I recommend is just using it for inspiration right now and then having those layers handy so you can piece it together however you need to. And so my mind was excited about that. But again, for people to really see, like for a client to really see what that would look like, or for myself to really see how this brand comes to life, I took it a step further and I thought, wouldn't it be cool if I could see how this would look like as a product or a course? Because I help a lot of clients do like course creation and monetize their expertise in different ways. So what we spend a lot of time on is these sales pages and like mocking up what the offer would look like. So you can actually ask AI to make, an offer or a sales page of a product that you could create. And then of course you need to attract leads. So what would a lead generator look like? You can ask AI to come up with an idea for a free download or resource or something like that. And look, it can mock it up for you. I had it come up with the idea, the welcome messaging, what that all looks like, the whole customer journey. And then of course, what would the homepage look like? So how does that new visitor get started and like enter my world? Well, you can ask AI to come up with an idea for a homepage. And then more social media specific concepts like your banner graphics, your Instagram accounts, like what could your content look like across various social media platforms? Next up, I wanted to see something really interesting, which is actually the brand coming to life. So I had AI mock up what it would look like in more video format. So like live interactive video experiences. And now it can actually show your brand looking more real with these different types of video experiences. And the next thing I thought would be cool was, could it come up with these like physical mock-ups to see the brand in the real world? And next, making it even more real, what if that brand hosted an in-person experience, right? So that would look different for any kind of brand. Physical products will go to events and trade shows. If it's more coaching or service businesses, you might host workshops or speak at events. And you could actually have AI conceptualize all that for you and see what that experience would look like. And then finally, of course, I wanted to have it mock up what a testimonial wall would look like, or just a mix of different types of client success stories and reviews and testimonials. So this is what's insane about AI. Okay, this is why I'm so excited about it and why I can't sleep at night. You can actually go through and not only create a mock-up of what it would look like, but start to see the whole brand come to life in different ways. And this is just insane. So I'm going to show you next how I prompted the AI to do all this, because that's where the real work came in for me, was to get the AI to understand what's going on and start to see brands come to life, all based on that initial mock-up. And you can see how insane these designs are and how real this starts to look. So now you see how these layers, the fonts and colors, come together to actually create real world touch points for the whole customer journey. So for the rest of this video, I'm going to go ahead and show you how I actually built one of these. Now, I'm not going to give you all the behind the scenes stuff and the prompts that I made, because that's really, really intense. It took me many hours to build these prompts, but I want to show you what's possible so you can kind of see where my mind's at and how this would actually look doing all this right inside ChatGPT. So what I built is I have an initial prompt that kind of instructs the AI on what to do. And so all I have to do is give it like a couple words about a brand, and it will come up with the mood board and generate that for me. And in this case, I like the first result. I didn't do any edits to it. I just wanted to see an example brand come to life. So next up, what I do is I download that mood board and I drop it into a new chat. And now I have all the instructions built in, so it kind of knows what to do. I gave it a little bit of information about the brand, so it kind of knew a little bit more about it. And it went ahead and did the next step, which is extract out the fonts and colors. So it just made that graphic first try, looks great. Next up, I just had a really detailed prompt on how to extract the background images. So you can see the first shot here, it generated the background images. Next up, I have another detailed prompt to create the stock photo ideas. Next up, just one more one-shot prompt to create these really cool accent elements. And I love this hat. So some fun shapes and designs there for, spicing up the brand designs a little bit. Next up, I had it mock up these kind of digital experience ideas of what the brand would look like in different ways. And the next step was I had it mock up an online course, what that could look like. And I actually had to try again because I thought that one was pretty boring. So the next one it created was pretty sweet. So now I have a concept of what that course could look like, or at least what the AI thinks it could look like. And then I can decide, use my own creativity to make it even better. And next up was, how would I get people to take that first step and sign up for something for free? So it came up with the whole idea and an opt-in page and the success page of what that could look like. The next challenge is, how do I bring it all together? So I have it mock up like a homepage to introduce the brand, get the navigation, and kind of welcome a new visitor into the world. The next thing I usually need for these kind of projects is, what would the emails look like? So it's kind of fun to just see what the AI thinks the email campaigns would look like on desktop and mobile. Next up, some more social media ideas to see what the brand would look like in different profiles and content. And I actually also have the AI suggest on where the audience would be. So it shows the types of content that would be most likely relevant to the ideal customer. So in this case, it showed like Instagram and how that could look, and YouTube. And you can even see how your freebie could be presented on social media. All right, next up, this is where it gets really fun. How does that actually look on video? And what does it look like when the person is talking or sharing content via video? And now these are the classic physical real world mockups, but it's really fun to see even a personal brand like a travel blogger applied to physical products. Okay, next up, I had it mock up what an in-person event would look like. So again, one shot, it's just doing this, keeping the branding consistent. And every one of these mockups is really capturing the feel and the essence of the brand and helping me see what that could look like. And then finally, the testimonials, which I thought it did a beautiful job of showcasing different types of testimonials. So which is really what I like to do with clients is we try to visualize the long-term plan for a brand before we get in the weeds and do all the work to build it. Because building a brand takes a lot of work. You saw a little bit of the tinkering around I did today, extracting the elements, putting them together, building out all these pages, systems, takes time and energy. But if you can start with a good vision in mind and have clarity of where you're going with this, and even imagine what the success stories will look like, what people will say, how you're impacting people, that can make a huge difference in the likelihood of success and staying true to the vision of where you're going with your brand. Seeing it all played out like this visually is so powerful. And I think that's one of the best things we can do with AI at this stage is start to imagine what our brand could look like, create these mock-ups because it's super cost effective. It's very cheap and fast to do this. And then once you feel really good about it, now you can invest the time and energy to actually build it out. And so again, I've been doing a lot of testing on this with different types of brands, different types of content, different looks and feels. And all of it is just mind blowing, just absolutely mind blowing what it's coming up with and how, how intelligent the AI is and how capable it is of visualizing things and holding that brand. I'm just absolutely blown away by this new model with ChatGPT. And I've found that this workflow of potentially doing brainstorming and ideas over here on Sora could be useful because you can generate up to 4 images at once on Sora. And it's just like a cleaner interface for design. But if you want that step-by-step, really logical workflow, I found that ChatGPT is much better because I give it very long prompts to continue and do those things. It does have issues here and there. There's definitely problems where it kind of loses track, especially as I added in now I have 15 steps in my process. So it gets pretty heavy. There's a lot going on, but even with 15 steps, I could handle that and build out a whole brand. And even though it's not perfect right now, I still think it's just insanely powerful to really see. I would look at this mock-up and I would say, well, I don't really know how that would actually play out, like what I would do with this, right? It looks cool, but what do I do with it? The power is you can start to have AI visualize that for you and bring it to life in ways that would normally take so much time and effort. And I can now see, oh, that's what the brand would look like. Oh, that's what it would look like in this kind of format and how it could be distributed through email and social media and sales funnels. And this is what's insane to me. I can now see like the real human to human experience of it and what that could look like down the road once you start to really build that out, create community, create customer connection, and you can see what the brand looks like in action, not just a fancy wrapper or marketing campaign, but the real impact that you can make with your brand. And then you can envision a much bigger version of it where you have events, workshop, you're speaking on stage. And it's so fun to actually see what the AI thinks that could look like. And if you've ever been an entrepreneur or done any kind of mindset work, you know how powerful visualization is. So my recommendation to you is to start to use AI to visualize and actually create images of the future that you're building with your business, your brand, your services. But I will warn you, this all looks really cool. When you sit down to try to do this, it's not going to be maybe as easy as you hope. It is possible to do all this with ChatGPT, as I showed you right here, right within ChatGPT without any extra tools. But I have spent hundreds of hours building prompts and really figuring out how to get it to do this. So while you may get some kind of variation or version of this, if you want this kind of premium look and feel, right now, I can't guarantee you're going to get that by using ChatGPT because there is underlying design and branding philosophy that I have trained my ChatGPT on, and my prompts all include that in it. But if you're interested in learning more about this, I am working on making this available to you and providing more resources and tools to help you build these kind of brands. And if you want first access to that, to learn a little bit more about what I'm doing, go ahead and go to brandwithai.com to subscribe, get on the waiting list, get notifications when I roll out new training like this. And I really feel like this is the future. We're at the very early stages of this. So we're just scratching the surface on what's possible. I strongly believe that within the next couple of years, technology is going to get so much better that you'll really be able to build out anything you imagine with the help of AI, probably just by talking to it and having it build these things for you. So by having some of the structure, the strategy, and underlying systems in place, you'll be able to take advantage of all the new releases and updates that AI comes out with. So I highly recommend, even if you're not ready right now, to at least start to get yourself in position to take advantage of all the new stuff coming down the pipeline. It's just going to get faster, easier, and better. And right now, it takes someone like me with 15 years of design experience, hundreds of hours to get it to do what I want it to do. That's not going to be the case in the near future. It's going to get much, much easier for everybody to create this kind of content. So that's all for this quick update today. I'm going to do a lot more training on this and show you more of my findings. I want to give you an update because I'm so excited about some of these breakthroughs that I had this week. And the big takeaway is that I'm stunned at how well it can not only create the mockup, but start to help you build out all these visual assets and imagine your brand in different environments. All right, thanks for watching this video. I hope this was insightful and helpful for you. And if you're excited about this kind of stuff, be sure to go to brandwithai.com and comment below. I'd love to hear what you think about this technology, where it's going, and some of the things that I showed you today. Did you know that this was possible? Is this stuff pretty mind-blowing to you? Because even me doing this all day, every day for 15 years, I'm absolutely blown away by what is possible right now. And I think the visual capabilities of ChatGPT plus the chat interface like this gives all of us a whole new way to kind of interact with AI to turn our ideas into reality faster than I ever thought would be possible. All right, so I'll wrap up there. Thank you again, and I'll talk to you soon.